This morning, we are joined by John Van Deusen. You know him from his song Whatever Makes You Mine that we played here on Radio U for a while. And now some more new music. He's got a new album called Anthem Sprinter coming out soon. We're adding his new song Comeback Record to the playlist today. John Van Deusen, welcome to the Hudson Show.
Hi. Thank you for having me. Good morning.
Good morning, John. It's great to talk to you. First of all, John, what I like to do for most artists before I talk to them is troll through your Instagram. And what I get a sense of on there is that music isn't just a job to you. You seem like the kind of guy that eats, sleeps, and breathes music. But I want to know what you're doing when you aren't making or playing music, and don't say listening to music.
Yeah, that's a great question. I actually don't listen to a lot of music. So I'm a dad. I've got 2 kids. I'm actually sitting in my 10-month-old's nursery at the moment. I spend a lot of time being a dad and trying to be a good husband. And I do write songs for a publishing company, so that's one of my jobs. I work, I hike, I read books, I spend time with friends and family. It's pretty normal, pretty normal. That's the best way to say it over here. It's good. It's healthy.
I want to hear more about the hiking. Like, where's the best spot you found to go hiking?
Well, so I live on San Juan Island. I live in the San Juan Islands in Washington State, and so there is lots of hiking where I live. And actually, my house is about 200 yards from the forest lands here, and there's an amazing network of trails. So usually when I'm hiking these days, it's hiking with my 4.5-year-old, and we're not doing really long hikes. So it's really just like a leisurely stroll through a very beautiful forest land. But there's a mountain on the island where I live called Mount Erie, and that has some really amazing hikes. So if you ever come, I actually live on Fidalgo Island. If you ever come to Fidalgo Island, you can hike Mount Erie. It's a good spot.
That sounds like that'd be a dream come true, actually. And going back to hiking with a 4-year-old, I imagine there's some hiking and a lot of carrying that goes on, is how I picture
it. Strangely enough, my son doesn't, he has like some real stamina, so I don't carry him very often. He is afraid of dogs, so if a dog comes down the trail, I end up carrying him for a minute.
That is amazing. All right, so let's talk about music then. You said you don't listen to a lot of music, but I'm curious, like, what are the influences, both, I would say, for you as a whole, but particularly for your new album, Anthem Sprinter? Like, what is kind of the stuff that's going into your head that you've been listening to before you were making the music?
Yeah, that's a great question. So these songs have existed for a very long time. The chorus for Comeback Record I wrote when I was 14, and I'm creeping up on 37. To give you an idea of how long some of these songs have been around.
First of all, we wouldn't have guessed that.
Yeah. Yeah. So, the truth is, these songs were influenced a lot by what I was listening to when I was in middle school and high school, and even just out of high school. And so a lot of pop punk and power pop, but specifically maybe Foo Fighters, Sunny Day Real Estate. Those 2 bands really had a huge impact on me when I was younger. And this record is probably one of the louder records I've recorded in a long time. And so I was listening to a lot of, music where the fuzz pedal is on most of the time, where the drums are recorded in a way to make them kind of larger than life. Nirvana is a good example. So, but even if I try to write really loud music, I would say it always has a simple kind of pop element to it, because as a songwriter, I can't really escape that. I just tend to write these kind of simple songs. So I don't know how else to say it, but yeah, there are lots of it's funny lately, Face to Face. I don't know if you ever listened to Face to Face back in the day, like California punk music, but
Hmm.
lots of that type of kind of melodic, um, really like sincere pop punk.
I love that. So you
Yeah.
mentioned that the songs, many of them, it sounds like were written a long time ago. Were they recorded? Like how long ago? What's the most recent thing that happened with this album besides it being released?
Yeah. So one of the new singles is called "Before You Fade Away." That is the newest song on the record. I recorded that a few years ago. Um, but the bulk of the songs, every single song other than that one, was recorded, I want to say, in 2017.
Oh wow.
So this record has been sitting around, and it sounds strange to say it, but I actually asked Tooth and Nail Records to shelve this record
Uh huh.
because of how old it was. And then they were very patient and very kind. And eventually I came around to the idea of releasing it. And so this record is strange because it feels a little out of time for me. Even hearing the songs now or performing them, I'm thinking, like, how is it that I'm just now releasing these songs? Because so many of them reflect me like a decade ago.
Yeah.
So
That
it's
is,
strange.
I'm sure you know this, but that is quite a role reversal because we've talked to so many bands where it's like, yeah, we made this music a while ago. It's not new to us anymore, but the label won't release it. And like they were holding it. And this is a complete flip of that.
I know. Actually, I don't know if this is 100% correct, but I was told that I was probably the first artist in Tooth and Nail Records history to ask them to shelve a record. But um, yeah, I don't know. I'm glad that I'm releasing it because I think it's reminding me that music holds power, even if it doesn't um, relate to my experience right now in my life. It still can give like language and vocabulary to other people, especially because the themes are pretty melancholy. I was frankly really anxious and depressed when I wrote this record. And so I think it kind of lends language to other people's experiences. And I need to remember that that's good because that's what other records have done for me. Even a record that came out 40 years ago, right? I can connect with it now. So
Right.
um, I don't know. It's good. It's a good exercise in the creative process for me, remembering that sometimes things that you made a long time ago are still relevant to other people, and that's good.
Yeah. We've heard a lot about the new album, but I want to, like, is there any other parting thoughts you want people to know before, maybe about the new album or particularly about Comeback Wrecker before they hear it for the first time?
I don't think so. I mean, you can imagine 14-year-old John in a cigarette smelling garage, um, probably just being feeling like how do I connect with people? You know what I mean? When you're 14, you're trying to like figure out how to make real relationships happen. And I think Comeback Wrecker is a song about that specific thing. Like, how do I connect with people? And then actually, the end of the song is just this moment of cathartic anger. And I think you can hear it in the drums and the guitars. And so that's just some good context to the song in general. So I don't know. Maybe that will relate with someone.
No, yeah, I love that. And I'm thinking here too, John, I don't know how, like, if you realized how spoiled maybe you are because, like, the music you're making now is great compared to the music that I would make today, which it would be horrible, would be even worse when I was 14. So the fact that you could make music worth listening to when you were 14 and write lyrics that people would still like that you can look back on at 37 and go, you know what, these are still pretty good. Like that's actually amazing.
Hey, I didn't say they were good. I never said that. I just think
No.
that they can connect with people. I should be clear, if I had recorded this at 14, it would have sounded quite a bit more like Good Charlotte meets Creed,
Well, you know what? That's kind of
which I
back
don't know
in
if
now,
any.
I feel. So,
Yeah, maybe.
well, no, we love it, John. The new song Comeback Record is great. So I feel like we should now let 14-year-old John Van Dusen speak for himself.
While you're here, you should watch more of our videos and subscribe so you don't miss what we do next.